Today we're joining the European Union National Institutes for Culture, or UNIC Thailand. It's an inaugural year this year where countries from all across Europe are coming together, sharing their culture with Thailand and having a lot of different events and organizations joining together. So today we're actually got the chance to talk with some of the institutes and the ambassadors as well of what they have planned for the upcoming future. It's my honor to introduce the charge d'affaires of the French Embassy, Mr. Jan Prado. Thank you very much for joining us.
Sawadee krap.
Well, this is I believe, the first year that the French Embassy will be leading the UNIC.
Yes, here in Thailand. It will be the first year along with our European partners.
Well, it's such a great cooperation between all the different countries throughout Europe, and to be able to come together here in Thailand is quite a feat in itself.
It's something we are really pushing forward. It's linked also to the history of the European Union. We believe that we are very rich of our own differences, and we want to present to others. And it's a good example in Thailand because you are building also the ASEAN, you are building in Southeast Asia a very important economical, political, but also cultural region of the world. And you can take UNIC like a testimony of what the Europeans do themselves, which allows us to have some sort of a common future, but with our own differences. And we remain French, British, German, Spanish, but being European at the same time. The perception we have is that Thailand is a very fast-moving society with a lot of different interests, young people being interested in very different arts. So it's also trying to meet this demand in some way, trying to be able to have this dialogue with the Thai people, the Thai youth, and try to exchange, because globally this is what it is about. So I think UNIC is a very good way to gather the efforts of all Europeans, all those that are involved on a regular basis in cultural activities, in order to have that permanent exchange with the Thai society, Thai culture, very rich itself, that we sometimes don't know very well.
Well, I thank you very much for joining us today, and look very much forward to all the events which will be coming up later this month, later this year, and into next year, and of course everything that the French Embassy does every year. So I'm speaking with the British Ambassador, His Excellency Mr. Mark Kent. Thank you very much for joining us. So I know we're here for the UNIC, and a very large group of embassies and institutes and organizations coming together. What's the British Embassy's involvement?
Well, we're working together with the British Council here, which is our cultural representative in Thailand. And we're actually the Vice President of UNIC at the moment. So the Languages Cafe event, which is taking place, we'll be having native British speakers come and talk English. We think this is important because we're working more widely with Thailand in terms of English language capacity, especially in the run-up to the ASEAN Economic Community in 2015. So this is a wider remit. But also I think it's important in terms of spreading knowledge of other cultures and other languages. And so we're very supportive. The other things that we're looking at in the future are a smartphone app about the European cultural heritage here in Bangkok, places which have got European links. And we'll be doing an exhibition of street art with both Thai artists and European artists, which should be taking place in February. So quite a few things coming up, which is very exciting.
Well, I know the German Embassy is very active here in Thailand, and there's a lot going on, especially with UNIC. What do you have planned?
We are having a very active year. First with UNIC, which is a great initiative, I find. But then we are also celebrating 150 years of our bilateral diplomatic relations with Thailand, and we use this opportunity also to promote the German language, to promote German culture with a whole variety of projects. And for example, our highlight will be early October. The Berlin State Ballet will stage Swan Lake in the Cultural Center. So I think a project which fits very nicely into the unique context. More precisely, concerning your question, Germany has here a wonderful Goethe Institute close to Tannensaturn, which has more or less two pillars in its work. There's one pillar which is the language pillar, and there's the other pillar to bring to Thailand some aspects of European and German culture in its whole variety. And I think UNIC is here filling a gap, is playing an extremely important role. If UNIC was not there, we would have to invent it right now to show to Thailand, to show to the countries in Southeast Asia which variety we share in Europe, but also the many commonalities amongst the European countries. And I think there is an avid interest amongst the Thai public in Thailand, in the media, to learn more about the European Union, about UNIC, about the various cultural activities, and I think there will be a big interest.
Well, they say that Bangkok is the Venice of the East, so it's only natural that as ambassador here from Italy that you're joining with this wonderful, unique event for cultural exchange. What's the embassy's role in UNIC, and what are your expectations?
Precisely, I think that the role it will be working together with the other cultural institutes the participating nations. But I think this sort of thing will develop. We will see how it develops. Very much it will depend on how Bangkokians will react, and ideas will emerge responding to what people will be asking. And of course, there are several initiatives that have already been thought about. We will talk about this later, and we will register how the people react, and then we will try to respond to their expectations.
In terms of the Italian presence here in Thailand, what do you have going on, and what do you have coming up?
We have a lot going on, and we've been having this for a long time. We have a big Italian festival every year that on various, particularly filmed. We have a big film festival. We have conferences. We have performances. We have music. We have a lot of things going on, and I must say we're very happy with how the Thai public responds. It's very nice. But this will be a great opportunity not only to show national culture, but to make it possible for the Thai to understand that there is a sort of common ground with European countries that we share. Although, of course, each of us is very individual, we share a certain common feeling.
Well, the Portuguese embassy, the oldest embassy here in Bangkok, obviously a mainstay. What's the role in UNIC this year?
Well, I think what we want to underline here is that apart from what each of us has as cultural programs, last year, for instance, we had an immense program related to the 500 years of our relations. There are things that we can only do working, as the name says, as a cluster. And we hope that we will be able to raise the awareness in the Thai people, in the Thai youth, about the real AAA rating that Europe is in cultural terms. We hope culture is about civil society, of course, and I think it will be a process through culture of opening up ourselves to the other cultures, to the other civil societies, and for that I'm quite excited.
Well, looking at some of the events that you have planned coming up and the work that you do between Thailand and between Portugal, can you give us maybe some highlights or some?
Well, practically in every field, in cinema, in dance, in publication of translations of Portuguese literature. But again, I think what we are here to underline is not our own national activities, cultural activities, which our institutes of culture has been doing consistently in the last couple of years, but new events, new type of initiatives that result from let's say, the synergy between those different cultural institutes. And I'll give you an example. We are thinking about identifying the places in Bangkok that have a link with our countries, so that we have a kind of possibility of a kind of guide, of a tour where Thais or foreigners or tourists will be able to see, oh, this is something that was a contribution of Portugal to the landscape of Bangkok, like our embassy, the oldest one, or the churches that were established 200 years ago with Portuguese descendants. The same exercise will be made by our colleagues. So a person can go from a little corner that will remind, for instance, an Italian architect, for a corner where you would see the presence of the British or the French, and that in itself will make people aware that our contribution in the cultural field is much bigger than people think.
Well, basically, UNIC is a collaboration of the European institutes and embassies working around the world who have cultural programs. So they've come together to join forces and work together on a range of different events. And one of the first events that we're doing here in Thailand is a languages cafe to mark European Day of Languages, which is this week on the 26th of September. Happens every year, but this is the first time that we've, as a group, come together to help promote the event and to host a languages cafe.
Well, British Council, obviously languages is your forte. And I know that, European Union, obviously a collective group, but as you mentioned, very diverse cultures and languages in of themselves.
Yeah.
What's the overall goal? What's the short-term, the long-term purpose of it?
I think it really is to promote the real diversity and the range and the rich history of Europe and all of the different languages that there are in Europe. So it's a real celebration of that diversity of languages and different cultures that are all represented in Europe.
Well, the UNIC, this cultural gathering of all these different countries from across Europe is quite an amazing feat in itself. And I know the Institute here in Bangkok has a lot of cultural things happening all the time. How did you come to join this great group?
I mean, we are here in Thailand as a German cultural center since 52 years. This is quite a while, and you can imagine that many generations of artists, musicians, intellectuals during these 25 years had contact with the Goethe Institute in the past and in the present. And Germany is not the only country that runs a global network of cultural centers. And so those European countries that dispose of such kind of networks sat together and decided that maybe if they join efforts, they can achieve together more than a single institute might achieve, taking into consideration limited budgets, but taking into consideration as well that certain topics and issues are of global concern. Just to name a few, we talk about the environment. So what can art, what can culture contribute to the protection of the environment? And that is a question where no single country has an answer, but every country might have its own answer, and together, as a group of European cultural institutes, we might come up with good ideas.
Every country, they have their own distinct culture, their own distinct history, but you're all coming together here at this one particular moment. What is really the focus you see for UNIC in Thailand?
Well, this is very good because the European Union as such is culturally very diverse. And this is important because, in fact, even in our treaties on the European Union, we talk about the importance to preserve the diversity of our national culture. So this is great. And I mean, some of the things that UNIC is doing at the moment is tremendous. I mean, next week there's going to be language and people will be able to speak different languages. And this is hugely important, especially for young people. Young people, the future is in knowing lots of languages, not just European languages, but that is the key to success in this modern day.
Oh, absolutely. Well, as you mentioned, Europe, very much open. Asia becoming more global in itself. So we look very much forward to Munich and everything that you have to offer.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
ขอบคุณครับ